What's going on, people? I am B-Dobbins, FTW, and as I'm sure you've all heard by now, this year's Call of Duty is finally doing what everyone said they should do 4 years ago, and bringing the series back to World War II. Just to make sure there wasn't any confusion about that fact, they literally named it Call of Duty World War II. And just gauging the internet's reaction so far, it's pretty clear that this change in setting could potentially win back many ex-fans of the series, and so the cycle continues. Now look, I don't know if this will finally be the mythical Call of Duty game that people actually like, but what I do know is that Activision will run a marketing campaign designed to make you believe that it is, regardless of the truth. So when you see trailers that use big-ass font to tell you you're seeing in-game footage, remember to come back here so I can remind you that cutscene graphics are rarely representative of gameplay graphics, and that shit won't look nearly as good on your Xbox as it does on the high-end machine and display they're using to record. To complement their marketing, they'll rely on the YouTube industrial complex to provide quote-unquote third-party analysis from quid pro quo paid shills like Allier, Drifter, and notorious child scammer T-Mart. So as you look ahead to the fall when 5 or 6 dank-ass games always drop, but you're only ever able to afford 1 or 2, as you debate with friends which games you all ought to get together, it can be a perilous time trying to sift through the bullshit, especially with COD, and the last thing we want is a repeat of what happened with Destiny, where even after 2 years of trailers, gameplay footage, and even a beta, people still didn't realize how much ass it sucked until they had already owned it for like a week. So when judging this year's Call of Duty, here are the key things to pay attention to make sure that you aren't let down again. Number 1. Does the multiplayer gameplay actually change? You know, the change of setting is important, but it will only make the game feel fresh for a very limited amount of time if it isn't accompanied by meaningful change to the actual core gameplay. I know a lot of people have left this franchise because they didn't care for the futuristic direction and the jetpacks and the laser beams and whatnot, so we go back to boots on the ground, and that's a good thing. But we have to remember, the whole reason jetpacks and wall running became a thing in the first place is because every COD player agreed they were fucking burnt on playing the same exact game every year, so developers threw in a bunch of random shit in their effort to make the game different. Now they made the wrong changes, but the game still needs to evolve from what it was 5 years ago. If returning to boots on the ground is the only major gameplay change we see, that's still gonna get old fast, because then we're just back at square one. We're just back where we were 5 years ago when we were already burnt. You know, is this gonna be one of these For Honor Evolve type games where you spend more time being hyped for it than actually playing it? Number 2, are COD developers ready to acknowledge that the era of instant gratification is over? Is this COD gonna be just another oversimplified children's toy piece of trash? When you look at the commercial success and widespread critical acclaim of games like Overwatch and Battlefield 1, it should be clear by now that people are ready for at least some complexity in their games. COD's biggest commercial advantage has always been that it's the easiest shooter, and it can remain the easiest shooter. But does it have to still be such a monotonous slot machine? Does every map in this new COD have to be the same 3-lane symmetrical reskin over and over and over again? Does every piece of cover have to be a fucking polygon? I think what has drawn people to games like Overwatch and Battlefield is that there are so many different ways to play. But COD doesn't have that. Every match of COD is a glorified game of hide and seek, where there aren't gunfights, people die as soon as you look at them, and it's who got seen first. You know, the average COD player has grown up. I mean, let's say most of us got our start on this shit in 08 and 09. Online multiplayer was still so young then. Nobody had more than a couple years experience with this shit. I mean, it had only been a thing since like 05 with Halo 2, but it's been a decade, and in the intervening time, the 25 million motherfuckers who started on MW2 have played a fuck ton of other games. Our skills have improved vastly. We don't need the game to be this easy and simplified to have fun, and it can stay casual. World at War was casual, but it wasn't Dora the Explorer casual. It's not one of these things where you get to call yourself an explorer even though all the shit you're traveling to is already on a map. The way they've simplified multiplayer, it's like bowling with the guardrails up on the gutters, you know? People think they're so cool because they can hit some pins, but it's like, you have the guardrails on, motherfucker. It's literally impossible not to hit the pins. I mean, you would have to be a legit fucking retard not to hit the pins. You would have to accidentally throw the ball into an entirely different lane. And some people are that stupid, but most of us aren't, and we prefer to bowl for reals without the guardrails, because that shit is boring. Is this COD ready to take off the guardrails? I remember back in Black Ops 3 when they were talking about making changes to the Black Hat. Vonderhaar was all, in a tweet, he was all, let's be honest, support players need support things to do. And I'm like, really? That's your idea of a support role? It's literally the same exact fucking thing as a Slayer role, except every now and then in the back of the spawn you point your fucking Game Boy in the sky to take out a UAV that would have gone away on its own in 30 seconds anyways? Lil Dora the Explorer kids be like, I am all-time support master of Game Boy device. And that right there just sums up COD developers' mentality for me. They pretend the most trivial, meaningless bullshit is somehow a valuable addition to the game that diversifies content and enhances replay value, when nothing could be further from the truth. Is this COD gonna be another one of these games where they talk up all these features with vague and ambiguous innuendo, and then once you buy it, you find out that they were over-exaggerating the shit out of themselves because all they did was throw in one tiny feature so that they were technically telling the truth when they said they had dynamic environments, but really it was just the one tree on the one map that falls over? They like to do shit in name only. Yeah, there's more than one way to play the game because we have the black hat. Okay, yeah, we have advanced AI because if you get too close to the fish, they'll move out of your fucking way. Number 3, is the single player gameplay going to change in any meaningful way? Or is it going to be the same repetitive game of whack-a-mole and faux interactive cutscenes? Like, I already know there's going to be a scene where a German tries to stab you, but you have to tap X really fast to stop him. I guarantee you that's going to happen. There's going to be a Michael Bay scene where you have to escape a tank or a plane before it blows up, right? It's been shot up and you're going to have to jump out of it before it blows up. And it's so epic and smoke and explosions and chaos and confusion, but I already know my guy's going to survive, and I already know the scene is gonna happen. The game's not even out yet. I already know what's gonna happen, okay? They're gonna have some actor from some popular TV show to demonstrate how current and hip COD is. God, I just wanna throw up thinking about it. Fuck. If they really want to make single player worth giving a shit about again, throw some creative options in there. I mean, remember Halo campaigns in their prime when it was just like, do you want to approach this encounter in a tank, in a warthog, with a sniper, or just crouch around stealth status, whacking fools in the back? Maybe some combination of all those things. That's what gives a campaign replay value. That's what makes it immersive. That's what makes it fun and challenging or interesting. In this new COD, is there more than one way to approach encounters? Or is it this same shit where you almost feel like you're in one of those Time Crisis arcade games where your character's movement is decided for you and you just kind of play whack-a-mole with whatever enemies pop up and you clear out this area and then you move on to the next one, and every now and then a Michael Bay cutscene completely takes over control of your character, so you literally can just put your controller down and watch and feel so immersed in the stupidly unrealistic physics and explosions and unsurvivable shit that you see on your screen. Remember this scene in Ghosts where they literally like park their car in the middle of a football stadium with no cover and enemies surrounding them in every direction in the stands with RPGs and HMGs and shit, and they somehow survive and manage to kill every bad guy there? Like, come on! Does the campaign have to be so over the top at every moment with Michael Bay bullshit that anyone with any sense can't help but roll their eyes because it feels more like a children's Power Ranger episode than it does a meaningful military engagement? And it looks like we're doing zombies for the 4th year in a row, and like, yeah, I'm happy they're doing it for World War II. That's where it started. That's really where it belongs, because that's where it's at its creepiest. You know, your tech is limited. Whereas it just felt downright fucking silly in the last 3 futuristic CODs. I mean, so silly. But it's like, God, I really wish the last couple of CODs would have tried something else. You know, I don't know, maybe something original? Because now I just feel fucking burnt out on zombies. I mean, this is what, year 5 in a row of zombies? Do they really have to do this shit where they are so lazy, unoriginal, and over-reliant on past success that they milk things to such an extent that what was once beautiful is now turned to ash and shit? Since we are doing zombies for the 4th year in a row, can it at least play a little differently? Is there any chance it could be like an actual wave defense survival horror game mode and not this fucking joke where the Easter egg has become the primary objective and you can barely even enjoy the game mode without taking the time to go watch some cancerous fucking YouTube walkthrough video from some hack like a notorious child's gamer syndicate that tells you exactly what to do and when to do it, and then you do it and you feel fucking cool because you followed some instructions on a screen? Do zombies have to remain this pathetic, glorified interactive cutscene? Instead of playing zombies, why don't I just buy a desk or some shit that has do-it-yourself home setup? I'll read the instruction manual, follow the steps to build the desk, and that'll be just as fun as zombies has become. And all these fucking no-lifes think they are sick as fuck because they can follow instructions in a YouTube video, and it's like, yeah, I got some instructions for y'all. Fuck y'all. Stop playing games and go back to your 5th grade classroom because that's where you belong, you fucking cuck lord ass clown son of a bitch. Back in my day, it was about utilizing your FPS skills to push yourself to the highest round possible. Now it's just this arbitrary bullshit that they dumb down to make kids who can't think for themselves feel good about themselves. Real men broke 40 on Shangri-La, and that's a bigger accomplishment than all this cucked Easter egg bullshit ever will be. And can zombies go back to actual sci-fi horror instead of this ridiculous fantasy? Can we ditch all the magic and realms and faux religious artifacts? Because the fantasy totally ruins the horror. And if it's not going to be scary, why even have it be zombies? You know, why not mutant space goats from the land of Oz? These silly lighthearted zombies maps in Infinite Warfare, fucking disco zombies, fucking Spaceland and amusement parks, these aren't scary, they feel silly. I feel like I'm in some demented episode of the fucking Wiggles. It's not the survival horror experience that I thought was so well done in World at War and Black Ops 1, with secret Nazi labs or haunted Nazi theaters. All this other dimensional shit just takes away from the gritty suspense of it all. I wasn't even surprised at the end of Black Ops 2 Zombies when it was all just kids playing with toys, because the whole fucking time I was like, yeah, this feels like some demented kid's zombie fantasy, not the gritty, suspenseful, unsettling mindscapes of George Romero. And lastly, they've said they're including a sort of social hub in this COD, which I think we can safely assume will be some combination of the personal HQ main menu thing you have in Infinite Warfare and the tower from Destiny. And this is a stupid ass trend, and it speaks to just how unoriginal and shallow COD devs can be. These open world main menus where you're in the presence of silent strangers, virtual characters, that's not a social experience any more than shopping at Walmart is a social experience, okay? The tower in Destiny wasn't fun or interesting or exciting. It wasn't a social experience. It wasn't somewhere where I went to make friends and make small talk about the day's events. It was just a main menu that took 10 times as long to navigate. Gamers love hanging out with their friends on games, no doubt about it, but if this is just going to be some shit like the tower from Destiny, then it's already redundant, because you can just hang out on the mic with your friends and it will literally have the same effect. The most social games to come out this last year, I thought, were Overwatch and Tom Clancy's Wildlands. Alright? Because these games actually require people to play as a team and work together. You're actually sharing experiences together and getting to know one another in an entertaining environment. The social interaction gamers crave isn't being in the presence of one another's virtual character so you can look at the junk you each obtained from RNG loot boxes, or so that Timmy can show off how much his mom let him spend on microtransactions. What we crave is games we can play together. And that's one area where Call of Duty has failed miserably. Even at its best, Call of Duty is legit the loneliest online multiplayer experience available, and has been for some time. The social interaction is limited to, hey, there's a bad guy near B flag, or cover me while I get this care package, bro. There's no elaborate planning and execution of complex maneuvers like you see in Wildlands or Rainbow Six Siege, and a stupid ass social hub main menu isn't gonna change that. Maybe this Call of Duty will be epic as fuck, and just like everybody else, I really hope it is. I want it to succeed. I want to like it. But if you're trying to figure out if this year's COD is going to be just another letdown like the last few, pay close attention to the details of the trailers and the gameplay footage and ask yourself this question. Besides the change in setting, has this game actually evolved, or is it just the same dish we got burnt out on 5 years ago? Thanks for watching. Please remember to rate. This is Batman signing out.